When you get stuck as an entrepreneur, is your first inclination, I just need to get focused more. I need to make my strategy better and tweak my strategy better, get it more clear, or I just need to put my head down and do the work and put in more hours to get through this, to grind through this. If that's your first inclination when things get hard, when things feel like they're energy draining, I'm going to show you in this episode, this video, why that's actually the 180-degree opposite of what is actually true to get you back into momentum. Hey, my name is Trevor Mock. I'm the founder of a company called Carrot.com, a multiple eight-figure entrepreneur. And I've been through a lot over the last 15 to 20 years as an entrepreneur. And here on my YouTube channel and the podcast, The Entrepreneur Freedom Formula, I get to hop on with you from time to time to kind of share what I'm going through, and also what I walk my clients through, and the stories I'm hearing as they're growing through these same challenges from 100,000 to 300,000 to a million to 3 million to 10 to 30. The conversation I had just recently with one of my clients, we were talking on the phone, and he was in a spot where things were really, really hard. Okay, business goals they weren't hitting. There were some challenges that are happening in his market that is making it hard. His finances are getting pinched. Delegation is working here and it's not working over there. And what happens, we start to be lured in by this feeling that we just need to put in more hours, right? If I could just put my head down, if I could just put in more hours, I'll be able to grind through this. Well, a quote comes to mind that's attributed to Einstein. Now, I don't know if Einstein actually said this because so many quotes are attributed to Einstein, but let's say he did. And it's something effective. The level of thinking that got you into this is not the same level of thinking that will get you out of it. So I asked that client, I said, so you think that to get out of this situation that you're in, you just need to do more faster of what you're already doing? Does that make any sense? To get out of the situation, you just need to do more and at a faster pace of what you're already doing. Now, the answer to that, of course, is no. We need to be thinking at a completely different level. And I'm going to walk you through in this video how, if you're in that situation, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling energy drained, if you are continually tweaking the strategy, if you're reading the books and changing the tools and buying this program and scrapping this plan and trying to find a new template for the plan and refining over and over and over again, I'm going to walk you through what you actually need to do to get that momentum back. Okay. So the pain points you're going to be feeling, and the pain points this client was feeling, is, like I said, your energy is drained more days than not. Okay. You get home during the day, or you get home at the end of the week, and you say, man, I worked my butt off, but I don't feel like I really measurably got things done. And man, it drained the heck out of me. The next thing is, like I said, you continually start and stop on initiatives. Okay. You're starting this initiative because you think it's going to work, but then you get distracted and do this other one. Then you start and you stop and you start and you stop, and you're continually on this start, stop treadmill. Okay, you're trying new tools, thinking a new tool, a new training program, a new coach, a new whatever is going to be the answer. Or you don't have time for any of that because you're so busy, you think you just need to put more hours in. You increased your hours. You started to cut out the very things in life that give you the most joy and energy. You started to cut out the workouts. You started to cut out the date nights or the date mornings. You started to cut out the time with friends. You started to cut out the hobbies. You started to cut out the focus time, or the time that you do the things that make you feel alive. Right. And you start to feel like you're not making progress. Well, the answer to why you're stuck, and the answer on how we get out of it, is actually that you're drained. It has nothing to do with you not being focused. It has nothing to do with you needing a better strategy or to refine it, or it has nothing to do with you needing to work more hours. It's all about getting the energy back, getting the mojo back. And I'm going to walk you through a few steps to get that mojo back. Okay. So when we're drained, the question I asked this client, I want to ask you right now, is what do you absolutely love to do that you've cut out of your life, you've cut out of your schedule, you cut out of your day, that you are no longer doing now because you don't feel like you have the time or even maybe the energy to do those things because you've got to grind through this phase you feel? What are the things that you're cutting out that give you joy that you're not doing right now? Okay, could it be those workouts? Like I said, is it riding the mountain bikes? Is it doing the massages once a week, hanging out with friends, grabbing coffee with your spouse? Whatever it is, what have you cut out recently? When I was talking with this client, he made this list, and it was, man, and we cut out date nights. We just haven't been able to find date nights because I'm getting home late. I'm wore out. She's busy. Date nights haven't been happening. Our marriage has been suffering as a result. Okay. Another thing that this client absolutely loves is running long distance trail runs. And he's really, really good at it. He's done a lot of big runs. They energize him. And it's something he always looked forward to. And he said, well, I haven't done one of those in a while. I said, okay, how often would you love to do one? I'd love to do one once a month. And he kind of went down this list of other things, working out and other things. I said, okay, well, just imagine, let's say business is still hard. Okay. That's the one thing we have to realize, that business is always going to have trials. You're never going to fully be out of trials in business or life, right? You're going to work through this existing trial, but then another one's going to be behind it in some shape or form at some point in time. And so we always have to be ready and aware that trials are never over. So if trials are never over and there's always going to be a new trial coming, what happens if every single time a trial comes, we think we've got to cut out all the things that give us the most joy, increase our work hours, and that's how we're going to work through it? What kind of business and existence is that as an entrepreneur? That to me sounds like a nightmare. Instead, what if we switch the mindset to say, trials will always be here, but I'm going to create a constant in my life that gives me energy, gives me joy, gives me fulfillment every day, no matter how my business is doing. No matter how my business is doing. We're creating a new baseline that we can live with joy, with energy, with happiness, even while we're working through these trials. And it doesn't require us to cut out the things that give us the most joy, make us feel like us. Okay. So I want to kind of walk you through this, how I think about this. Okay. No energy equals no momentum. Right? No momentum equals no clarity. When we don't have energy, it's hard to have momentum in the right direction. We usually get stagnant or we move off to the wrong direction. When we have no momentum, okay, that equals no clarity, because if we're stuck and things aren't working, we're always fighting to refine things, trying new things, pulling up that plan once again, thinking we need a new strategy. We're trying to refine because we're not having momentum. Okay. When we have no clarity, then the no clarity equals more strategy tweaking, right? So it's this vicious cycle. No energy, no momentum, no clarity, constant tweaking. Constant tweaking equals no energy. So how do we get out of that cycle? Well, the first thing that we need to do is recognize that energy is upstream from clarity. Energy is upstream from action. Energy is upstream from growth, meaning energy drives all those things. Energy helps us to drive clarity, mental clarity. When we're physically full of energy and mentally and energetic, we become more clear because we're thinking about things at a different level. Back to that Einstein quote, we're able to think about things at a different level now. Okay. Energy drives action. When we have more energy, we're willing to go do more of the work with more joy. Can you imagine it's 2-3 o'clock and you're putting hours in grinding away to try to move through this challenging season, and you're out of energy because you haven't been eating good, you haven't been working out, you haven't been doing the things outside of work that give you joy? How good do you think that work is going to be in the back part of the day? Probably not very good. And then you're going to start to feel guilty and frustrated on why I'm putting all this time and things aren't moving, and I'm robbing this time from my spouse or my friends or whatever it's going to be, or my health. Energy is upstream from growth. If we want to be able to get clear and move, clarity and action drive towards growth. Clarity and action drive towards growth. Action by itself doesn't, and clarity by itself doesn't. If we have clarity towards what we want and what we need to do and the decisions we need to make, and then we take action on them, now we can move. But if we only have clarity without action, right, that doesn't move us anywhere. We're stagnant. We're stuck. But if we have action without clarity, that moves us faster in a direction that may actually be taking us away from where we want to go. So energy is upstream from clarity. Clarity and action together drive growth. Okay, so here's a few questions. Here's some something to go do right now. Okay, ask yourself and kind of take this audit for yourself. Pause this video, pause this podcast, do whatever you need to do. Okay, what is draining my energy right now? I want you to do an audit. We have something called the energy audit here in my company. You can go online and grab it. We'll put it in the show notes as well. It's just carrot.com/energy. Okay, carrot.com/energy. Go grab the energy audit, and it's got a video in there about me walking through how to use the energy audit, the whole thing. Okay, grab and determine what removes, what drains your energy. What is draining your energy right now? Okay, recognize it. Until we recognize what's draining us, we can't solve it and remove those drains from our life. Okay, number two, what gives me energy? What gives me life that I've stopped doing? That I justified, that I just need to put more time, more energy, more hours to work through this trial. I've cut these things that give me joy, life, and energy. What are the things that you've cut that give you life? Write those down. Okay, is it working out? Is it those dates with your spouse? Is it time with friends? And I'm going to give you a real world example of some of these after the third question I've got for you, which is, what is the one thing I know I need to do next, but I haven't? What's the one thing I know I need to do next, but I haven't? If we've identified what's draining our energy, if we identified what we stopped doing that gives us life and energy, and now we need to say, what's the one thing that I know I need to do next, but I just haven't been doing it? That now is priority. Okay, if we get clarity with what gives us energy, then we take action and add the things back into our schedule, into our life that give us energy. And then we get clarity on what that next priority is. We're going to have a much higher chance of moving on that priority, making it happen now. Okay. So what we don't need right now is a new strategy. Your strategy is probably just fine, right? You need to feel like you again. Where you are right now, if you don't feel like if you don't feel like you're full of life, if you feel like, why am I even doing this entrepreneurship thing? Because it's draining the crap out of me and I need to move through this phase. If you don't feel like the very answer to get through this phase and get your company growing again and get back to joy is to feel like you again. What makes you feel the most like you? Okay. So that's the question for you guys. Write that down. What gives you energy? What are the things that you cut out of your schedule in your life because you think you need to put more time in? And your very next action is to make a decision and a calendar change. What decisions are you going to make to add the things that give you joy back to your schedule? Okay. That's your very first action. Not this new work project, not putting in more work hours. The actual answer is to remove work hours and put in the things in your schedule first that give you physical energy, mental clarity, and joy. When I did this, a while back, the very first things I put in there was okay, we accidentally stopped having our date nights. My wife and I, Carly. And the next thing was, man, my workouts, I'm making it happen here, but then I cut it out here. I justify why workouts can be negotiable versus workouts being non-negotiable because they drive energy. Okay. Another thing that I cut out of my life at that time was hobbies and time with friends because I didn't have time, right? Because I need to put my head down and work through this. And so when I made those decisions, I said, let's say business isn't doing great, but I have all those things in place. I've got consistent date time with my wife. I've got consistent, amazing time with my friends every single week. I've got my workout time every single day where I have physical energy. What if all that I did was add those back and my business is still the same in a year? Would my life be better than it is today? And the answer was yes. Even if my business stayed the same as it was and I added those back, resentment for the business goes away. Resentment for the time I'm putting in the business goes away because we're still enjoying the life today. Okay. So what I did, guys, is I added in date mornings. We were finding that date nights just weren't working with our kids' activities and things, and they were negotiable. So, for this last season, I dropped my kids off at school on Tuesdays. I head back home and we have date mornings from about 8:15 to 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, every single Tuesday. And it's been transformational, both for our marriage, for my energy, my productivity, and my focus at work as well. Another thing that we added back in was the workouts. So here in my office, in the gym, we've got a coach. And over the years, I've kind of accumulated some amazing friends, men of faith, all entrepreneurs, fathers, husbands, who come and work out with me 3 days a week. And that's just life giving. I get the workout with the fellowship. Okay. And then something that's kind of more recent this past 90 days or so is every Thursday, which I'm recording this on a Thursday, we do sauna and cold plunge Thursdays with some of the same buddies, some of the other different buddies. And we go out there after I've dropped the kids off at school, head up to my buddy's house on the river, just downriver from my property. We cold plunge in the water. We go up to his finished sauna. We do a few rotations. We talk. We eat some homemade yogurt like we did this morning. And then I go start my work. Even if my day isn't going great, or even if the work side isn't going great, my day is already amazing. Alrighty, guys. So add life back in, become you again. If you're ready to make a change, it's behind a decision and a calendar change. Decision and a calendar change. I'm going to walk you through how to make the right calendar changes, how to set up your week correctly in another video here on my channel. So guys, go check it out. Here on the YouTube side, it's a video on how to master your calendar with a process that I call the integrated week. Click that video, watch that video next to take this to the next phase. If you're listening to this on the podcast version, head over to YouTube and check that out, or scroll through the podcast version here to find the one on mastering your calendar. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of the day, rest of the week, rest of the month. Make tomorrow amazing and start to feel like you again while you're working through the trials in business. All right, we'll talk soon.